been a lot of talk about exploitation. When we make use of something or someone else, traditionally without moral scruple, it's said that we're exploiting. Sometimes exploitation can take form in many different shapes. Sometimes it's one individual exploiting another. Other times, it's an entire section of society exploiting millions of others. And that is precisely the type of exploitation we're going to talk about today. Under the capitalist system, there are two primary classes which segment society, both with opposite and irreconcilable material interests. These two classes are properly known as the bourgeoisie, or the passive owner, and the proletariat, the producers. The foundation of capitalist rests in the legitimacy of private ownership of the means of production. This, in effect, refers to the bourgeoisie, the class that yields dominant control over the social means of production in a capitalist economy. In turn, producers must sell their labor to the bourgeoisie in order to satisfy their most basic needs. This begets the parasitic and exploitative relationship between owner and producer, for it entails the producer to work for the owner for less compensation than is equivalent to the actual amount of work done, independent of how this is measured. The producer sells his labor out of necessity for a wage. This wage, artificially set below the equivalent work output, is in turn needed by the producing class in order to survive and satisfy his basic material needs. While the producer works, the owner, or bourgeoisie, exploits the work performed by his employees by accumulating what's known as the surplus value of their labor. In turn, the owner, now a capitalist, is able to make his living not by working, but by accumulating and generating profit from the work of others. In short, the capitalist effectively steals the surplus produced by labor. This stolen surplus is what's called profit. Profit then can be best understood as the difference between what a worker actually makes and what he is paid in wages. In short, capitalism operates by robbing workers of their surplus and in exchange forcing them to accept less than the full value product of their labor.
Hold your horses. You mean to tell me that in capitalist society, there are groups of people called owners, who actually make money not by going to work, but by taking away what rightfully belongs to someone else?
Yes, you got it. You see, capitalists aren't only greedy, cruel and shameless, but they're downright parasites, no better than your common flea or rat. The capitalists grow rich by sucking the lifeblood from other, hard-working individuals just like you and me, but they do it on a grand scale. Not just here, but all over the world. And when they can, they exploit workers and producers in other areas across the globe even more so than they do here. That's called super-exploitation.
Well, this is a crime. Why doesn't anybody stop them? How do they get away with it?
Well, to guarantee that they can continue to exploit workers and rob them of their surplus, the capitalists use the repressive mechanisms of the state to dominate producers and keep them in their place. The capitalists use police officers to break strikes and round up labor organizers who want nothing more than to reclaim what's rightfully theirs. The owners use the tools of government to create policies and programs that not only legitimize the exploitation of workers, but also to help make the process go a lot smoother. You see, the foundational principle of the right to private ownership of the means of production is the basis of the capitalist society's legal, cultural and political infrastructure.
Well, how do we get rid of them?
Like any parasite, you have to rid yourself of it. The working class must realize that it is being swindled and kept down by the owners in society. It must violently revolt against the capitalist class and take over the state and means of production.
This is also very interesting. Where can I learn more?
Well, there are plenty of books out there. Why don't you start by checking out the website of the American Party of Labor at www.americanpartyoflabor.org.